This next way to prepare finished edged applique is the winner in my book. It's the bomb. And it's how I do it when I want to have finished edges, whether it's done by machine or whether it's done by hand. It just works beautifully. I learned it at one of my retreats by Chris Spray. She is an absolute master at this. And she was working quietly on her project, and she said, well, do you want me to show how to do this? And we're like, yes. And I think that is really, this technique is what prompted me to finally write the book, because it was like, this is information that I don't think is generally out there. So thank you, Chris Spray. I mean, I know a lot of people use it, but if you haven't tried it, it's gonna feel a little awkward at first, but it's certainly worth the effort of learning how to do it. So let's talk about what you need to do. This is what I call the spray starch method. You're going to need to use freezer paper, and as you can see, I trace the shape on it. But one layer of freezer paper is simply not enough. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to iron it to another layer of freezer paper. Again, it is going to be shiny side underneath, dull side, shiny side to the dull side, and dull side on top. It's very important to get it that way. So you're getting it too deep. Then you're going to cut out the shape, again, exactly how you want it. Whatever the shape is what your finished piece is going to be. I just did a funky cut on that. Right in there, so let me just kind of clean that up. I just love this technique. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself some real cheap spray starch, but you want it to be heavy duty. And you're going to spray it into the cap. And some people like to add water to it. Chris would do about 50-50, but I like it just solid solution. Then what you're going to do, let me pull the camera back a little bit, is on the wrong side of your fabric, you're going to iron this leaf down. And I do sometimes pay attention to the bias. This is the straight and this is the straight of this little hunk of fabric. I think I want the bias coming where the most curve is. I just think it's going to be easier to do. On the wrong side, you're going to iron it down like this. And then you're going to cut a little less than a 1/4 inch. Just a little bit. Then, using a paintbrush and or a makeup wand, you're going to dampen the outside of the edge, the 1/4 inch seam allowance, or little less than, all the way solid through with the starch, like that. Now, using your stiletto and your wand iron, these now become the extension of your hands. You aren't going to use your fingers anymore. Now, I'm a lefty, so I'm switching it over. So the iron is in my left hand and the stiletto's in my right hand, vice versa if you're a righty. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the stiletto and you're going to pull down this fabric, and you're going to iron it dry. All right, now let's turn it. This is going to come down here like this. And here's a little trick. When you're going around a curve like this, don't iron all the way to the raw edge. See how there's this little ruffle going on here? Don't iron that all the way down until you're absolutely satisfied with the curve. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go like this. Then I'm going to go over here. I've got to do this side here. Same thing. What you want to avoid are bumps and tucks. And if you get it, a bump or a tuck, like I'm kind of fighting it right here, just go back, re-wet the fabric with the starch, and you're good. You do not want little folds like right there. Now, if you're hand quilting, or hand appliquing, I don't care if this stuff is sticking out because you can just tuck it in with your needle. But if you're doing it by machine, like the pomegranate quilt, what you'll want to do is re-wet on both ends, because they both are problematic in this case. And get in there and fold it. And just get that baby there. Nice. Okay, let me do the other side. I just love this technique. Again, the pomegranate quilt, I was able to prepare in a couple days and machine applique in the other days. But here comes the beauty of the whole thing. Once it's done, go to the other side, make sure that that's pressed really nicely. And there you go. You don't have to go pulling out any paper. I just love this technique. Now, one thing you need to know is that when you're doing this, that pomegranate quilt right up there in the corner that you can just see, I actually got carpal tunnel doing that because I didn't have my hands positioned properly using this iron. I was kind of cranking it like this, and that's not good. You want to make sure that everything is smooth and you don't have your weird hand at a weird angle like that. I mean, ergonomics are so important. So if I want finished edges, that's what I use, and I absolutely adore that technique. Now, when you have those all prepared, how do you attach it? Well, up next you'll find out.